Don't have any, but if somebody should happen to have one, please disclose it. Under Community Service section, deputations, petitions, presentations, and public meetings, we have none. Unfinished business, there's a list I think attached. Other agency reports, and then we'll move right on to the OPP. Good morning.
Morning, sir.
How are you today?
Very good.
Good. You need a minute to get organized?
No, I'm good, sir.
You okay?
Okay, so basically, we've sent out our statistics. We're talking about September 2016 today. There's nothing really shocking that I would like to highlight at this point. We're still working on the same trends as we have. Just going through myself real quick here, but one thing is we're actually still in the direction of, we're down about 15% from 2015 on property crimes and in the town of Wasaga Beach, which is a good thing. Just to advise you that our property street crime unit is up and running at full strength now. So that's a good thing. We just got that up and running towards the end of October. Our traffic response unit is up full running as well. And one of the traffic initiatives that's a corporate initiative for the OPP is our Festive Ride. And that program begins November 21st. So you'll see some media attention as well as an enhanced visibility in our ride spot checks. Even though you'll notice that our ride spot checks to date and our impaired charges are up, I would like to say unfortunately, a significant amount, 36.8%. So this time last year we had 106 persons charged for impaired over 80 offenses. We're up to 145 already this year. And we haven't even really started our festive ride season. So that's when we normally get a large percentage of our impaired drivers. So we're looking at being 50% more in 2016 than in 2015. For the most part, unless you have any specific questions, our total traffic offenses at this point, year to date, we're just slightly below where we were in 2015, but we've not had an effective traffic unit actually, working for a few months, so that's going to really correct itself. And our traffic unit is focusing on more than just traffic. They're targeting the big four causes of serious collisions, but they're also assigned. They're trained on ATV, bicycle, and foot patrol, and they're assigned not to one zone or one municipality. They're assigned to all three, and they're basically out there. A portion of their day is on foot, bike, or ATV, and that's getting to know business owners, getting to know members of the public. It's basically putting a face to the uniform, getting them out of their cruisers. So that's already, in a very short period of time, been very effective on some of the feedback that we're getting back. And it's just helping us report back to our community policing committees and such as well.
Yes, Councillor Belanger?
Thank you, Chair. I just had a couple of questions, read the report. One in September, personal injury was up 200%, or actually tripled. And I just wondered if that was, multiple occurrences, or whether we had, a couple of real serious occurrences where a lot of people were injured at one time, or?
Well, no, this would not be the amount of people injured at a crash. This will actually be the amount of collisions. So it went from 4 in September to 4 September 2015 to 12 events in 2016. And a lot of them still have to do with speed, and they still have to do with crossing over the lane into oncoming traffic. 2 of the events involve serious injuries. And it's hard to differentiate. Personal injury collisions are anytime you need ambulatory care, where we write down on the traffic report that an ambulance attended and they're going to treat you at the scene. That means that's an injury accident. So there is a variance between where someone goes to the hospital and they have serious injury. We had 2 of those out of the 12, but the other 10 were they needed ambulatory care, but they could have been treated at the side of the road. And the causes, there's not one specific cause on that. A lot of times it's weather related that would set a spike, but that wasn't the case in September.
Okay, a few more quick questions,
Yeah.
but one is the Criminal Code, Liquor License Act, and other violations was down 24.1%, which is good, but is there, that's on page 3, I think. So, Criminal Code non-traffic down 58% from 135 to 56, that's huge. Liquor License Act down 39, and other violations down. Is that a,
So Liquor License Act, it basically, we put a focus change this summer on targeting the people that, for public safety, so they don't become a victim, and targeting the people that are going to incite the crowd to cause social disorder. And it's less on the charge everybody that you see. So the charges for liquor license was very focused on who was either going to be consuming alcohol that are going to cause problems for somebody in the community, or somebody that was going to become a victim because they're drinking too much in the community. And that resulted in less charges being laid, but it enabled us to get better control of the crowds that were responding to the beach.
and next one, I just, sexual assaults, and it's 3 versus 1, like, I mean, 1's too many, but is it, again, is there, was it was not a, was it, they're all isolated cases, or was there?
No, actually, two of the 3 were domestic related, so they weren't even, it was in a dwelling house.
Okay, and then my last question is just whether or not we had found out any more information about the fire hall where the buses are stored, if there was any more news on that.
The investigation's still ongoing, and we have great confidence that that will be solved. A lot of the break and enters that are taking place are connected, so there's an investigation forthcoming.
Thank you.
Any further questions? Thank you. What is the motion? Moved by Councillor Smith, seconded by Councillor Bray. Resolved that the Community Service Section of Coordinating Committee does hereby receive the September 2016 Police Services Board Report for information. Madam Clerk.
Mr. Chair, the motion has been read. I'll ask the members to respond for or against. Councillor Boulanger.
In favor?
Deputy Mayor Byfold.
In favor?
Councillor Bray.
In favor?
Councillor Smith.
In favor.
Councillor Stockwell.
Favor.
And Mr. Chair.
In favor.
6 in favor, 0 against. The motion is carried.
Thank you very much.
Thank you, sir.
Yes.
Good morning.
Good morning. Thank you for having me.
It's a pleasure.
So the fire department saw 118 calls for service in the month of October, so pretty steady month for us, nothing overwhelming. October, as you know, we were very busy with our fire prevention activities. Notable occurrences, there really wasn't much. However, the storm event that Collingwood saw, the downburst, and I guess Clearview, there was a reported tornado. in the Stainer area, I believe. We had really nothing too much other than we had a lightning strike that was interesting. It electrified a chain link fence all around the property, and the fence actually connected to an adjoining property, electrified that, and when we followed it around, so the call we got originally was for a structure fire. And the fence where it had met the home hit a gas line that served the gas fireplace. So it opened up that gas line and actually had kind of a torch effect going on the side of the home. Now luckily it was on the brick part of the house and there was no fire. Ian showed up at the call and was disappointed because there was a lot of other exciting stuff going on in the municipality, and we had this minor
Sorry.
event. But it actually, when we followed the fence around, it had blown a hole in the downspout of the neighbor's property. So it was we couldn't find where the lightning had actually hit, but it was an interesting investigation following it around and seeing what happened. So. Other than that, there really wasn't anything too major. I do want to address a question that Councillor Smith called and had asked me just regarding false alarms, because there's a large number of false alarms on the spreadsheet. And the question was, you know, are these all, or many of them, the same address? And in this case, no. And further, the question was, if they are, do we charge them for this? And as a matter of fact, we do. It's a kind of a strike three and you get a charge policy. In our rates and fees, there is an amount for $350. And if you have a third false alarm within a calendar year, you're charged. Now we look at each case, you know, on a case-by-case basis and try and determine why they're having the false alarms. But if it's just a matter of not having your system serviced and we keep returning, then we'll lay a charge. It's only happened once in the past where we've actually had to lay a charge. Generally, the people are pretty good. Now, a lot of these, and I forgot to mention this, Councillor, when we spoke, a lot of these too are not necessarily fire alarm systems, but can be smoke alarm calls that are false. So they're in that number as well. So, but it does account for the second highest number of calls, so it was worth noting, and I thank you for that question. That's all I had.
Any further questions? I just had one, a fire alarm call. Is that classified as a false alarm?
If it's determined to be false, then it's a fire alarm activation false alarm, yes.
Yeah, okay, thank you. Any further questions? Okay, I'll read the motion. Moved by Councillor Belanger, seconded by Councillor Smith. Resolved that the Community Service Section of Coordinated Committee does hereby receive the October 2016 Fire Department Report for information. Madam Clerk.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. The motion has been read. I'll ask the members to respond in favor or against. Councillor Belanger.
In favor?
Deputy Mayor Byfield. In favor. Oops. Right column. Councillor Bray. In favor. Councillor Smith. In favor. Councillor Stockton.
Favor.
And Mr. Chair.
In favor?
The motion, there are 6 in favor, 0 against. The motion is carried.
Thank you, Madam Clerk. We'll move on to the consent agenda. All items listed below will be approved by one resolution. There will be no separate discussion of these items unless a council member requests it, in which case the item will be removed from the consent resolution and considered immediately following adoption of the remaining consent agenda items. Madam Clerk, was there anything pulled?
No, Mr. Chair.
Okay, we'll move on. We don't vote on that, we vote on the next one. Recommendation. Moved by Councillor Belanger, seconded by Councillor Bray. Resolved that the Community Service Section of Coordinated Committee does hereby receive the November 10th, 2016 consent agenda items 3D through 3F, and that the recommendations contained therein be adopted.
Mr. Chair, the motion has been read. I'll ask for members to respond in favor or against. Councillor Belanger.
In favor?
Deputy Mayor Bartholci. In favor. Councillor Bray.
In favor?
Councillor Smith.
In favor.
Councillor Stockwell.
In favor.
And Mr. Chair.
In favor.
There are 6 in favor, 0 against. The motion is carried.
Thank you very much. We will now recess for 10 or 15 minutes. Thank you. Oh, yeah, sorry, excuse me just for one moment, please. Jerry, would you come forward, please?
Uh-oh. What'd you do now?
I don't know.
Anyway, I went to a retirement party last week and got
See
a
how much
bunch.
fun it was
Yeah,
and all the gifts.
but anyway, I've decided to retire the end of February of this next year. So after 36 years with the Parks and Recreation Department of the town, so I just wanted to make everybody aware of that. So.
Well, I would say, Jerry, that you certainly will be missed. And it's been a pleasure, well, maybe I won't say that, but knowing you for all these years, but for the short time. Myself personally, I'd like to wish you all the best of luck. I look forward to going to your party. And somebody told me though they might have to hold it in a telephone booth with all your friends. But I didn't want to say that.
And that's okay.
Yes, Councillor Belanger.
Thank you, Jerry. Yeah, Jerry, I've only been really involved for a short time, but through everything I've heard in the community, our Parks and Recreation Department has been flawless. We get very little concerns raised, and I know wearing my Wasaga Beach Blues Festival hat, you've been a great supporter and a pleasure to work with. So I wish you all the very best, and we'll see you on the golf course, I'm sure, at some point.
So probably somewhere. Thanks.
Yeah.
Thank you very much, Jerry.
All right, thank you.
Selfish, Jerry. Did you just start 50? Yeah, probably.
Okay.
Public Works section, A, disclosure of procuring your interest, I have one. And that is check number 020234 in the amount of $189.28 due to a family member, but we'll be voting on all other items, and that's submitted by Deputy Mayor Palfucci, and is so noted. So, that's the number A. Number B, the deputations, petitions, presentations, we have none. Unfinished business, we have none. Other agency reports are none, and the consent agenda. All items listed below will be approved by one resolution. There will be no separate discussion of these items unless a council member requests it, in which case the item will be removed from the consent resolution and considered immediately following adoption of the remaining consent agenda items. So do we have any to vote? Oh my. Thank you. So therefore, moved by Councillor Bray, seconded by Councillor Smith, resolved that the Public Works section of Coordinating Committee hereby receives the November 10th, 2016 consent agenda items 4E through to 4G, and that all the recommendations contained therein be adopted. Madam Clerk.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. The motion has been read. I'll ask the members to respond in favor or against, starting with Councillor Boulanger.
In favor?
Deputy Mayor Byfolds.
In favor?
Councillor Bray.
In favor?
Councillor Eagle.
In favor? It's a hard
Councillor
name.
Smith.
Favor.
And you, Mr. Chair.
In favor.
The vote is 6 in favor, 0 against. The motion is carried.
Thank you. And that is the agenda dealt with, and thank you all for attending.